Hello and welcome back to the Leah Moses Entrepreneur Podcast. And today we are really going to just be wrapping up and looking ahead, planning ahead for the new year, learning from this year. And so we know a lot of people make plans as it's the end of a year and looking into the new year. Some of us we plan to improve our physical health. Some of us our mental health. Some of us plan to read more. We plan to visit family and friends a lot more, or travel some more. But I would like to highlight for all the entrepreneurs, business people, self-employed people that are tuned into this podcast. We need to also be mindful of what happened this year and implement it, even if there are no signs of certain things going forward in terms of any pandemics, a new pandemic or anything. We are still under some of the restrictions, and we would be, especially in the beginning of the new year. And so with that in mind, we really should be putting things in place. Are you allocating funds for an emergency that might last 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months? We in Trinidad and Tobago, from March 2020 till this very date, the 21st of December 2020, we are still under COVID restrictions. And so a lot of people, they lost their jobs, a lot of people ran out of money, and a lot of people didn't have a plan B. They didn't have options as to how to keep afloat, how to keep sustained, because you always heard make a budget and have extra income or a side income, but a lot of people didn't really take that seriously. And so I would like to obviously highlight that going into the new year, let us from now put pen to paper and decide how are we to plan for 2021 to sustain ourselves, right? Of course, finances alone don't sustain us, right? At least that's not my belief. However, you need to be mindful, because at the same time, money answers all things. And so you need to spend, for your basic utilities, you need to spend for food, etc. So it is crucial to have a plan, right? And so what you could do is, I would have done several topics on my YouTube channel, even this podcast, that may have given some ideas as to how you can start prepping yourself for an additional source of income, right? Or if you already have a business or you are working, then of course you should allocate a little bit more. You can plan to allocate a little bit more, towards an emergency fund, right? Should in case, lockdown restrictions increase or something else is to happen in 2021, you can find a way, to protect yourself, to protect your finances. And if you unfortunately lost your job, then of course you can look into some of those topics that I would have done previously, speaking about how you can utilize what you have, be it your skill or be it some assets that you may have acquired over the years from your working when you had money, or even from gifts that you may be able to liquidate, you may be able to sell off to get yourself some starting capital. Because we read books and we see of many people who started with no money. A lot of people started with just traveling money to do what they had to do to sustain themselves. And so I encourage you to really dig deep. Look at your talents. We all have something. We all have our unique gifts. So look inward. Find out from some people around you, what am I good at? If you were to pick something or two things and narrow it down. Of course, you can try to pair it with what you like, but sometimes we have to do what we're good at. It may not necessarily be what we like, but what we're good at, and then we can get into what we like and our passions. And so you can look into these things, because it's all about being prepared for 2021. A lot of us had a rough ride in 2020, right? Some of us were prepared for it, so it wasn't as rough as others, but it shook the world, right? The pandemic shook the world, and so we must always be on guard looking forward, right? Of course, I would also encourage the business people in terms of planning ahead to do more looking into the digital assets, do more looking into, cryptocurrency, right? And get yourself some, in the most simplest of terms, right? So that is basically my contribution and quick, podcast episode for today. And I look forward to producing more content such as this in the future, that being in the start of 2021. Every Monday will be a topic, right? I also look forward to doing a lot of collaborations. If you are listening to this podcast, you can reach out to me at Leah CL Moses across Facebook, Instagram, and even YouTube, right? Or leahclmoses@gmail.com. You can email me if you would like to do a collaboration at any time, to highlight whether it be your business, your journey as a business person, etc. As we look forward to a new and prosperous year. So thank you for listening as always. See you next time.